All right, we're back. And we're back from the head resurfacing video that we did here. And I've given this thing a bath and a couple of rinses. And we're ready to move on ahead. We've got a little bit of shadowy light here, but this is just what you're going to get. One of the things that we're going to do here, I'm going to try to describe it as I'm going through the process. Here, put this thing here. We've got these valves, okay? I'm going to have to clean these up, and you can see that they've got some nasty on them. And I'm going to describe to you why they got this nasty on them. There's a lot of carbon, especially on these intake ones, which is kind of silly. But it's also not silly when you know what I know. Here, real quick. These dropped off. I'm going to show you. Yeah. These dropped off when I was washing it, and these are the base for where the springs go. It's kind of what holds them. These are all the same, so one is the same as the others. So I'm going to end up cleaning these valves off, but you know, we're looking at this shiny edge here, and I'm inspecting them. Of course, there is some carbon around them, and I'm going to clean them off. And look how they each have their own place where they're going to go. But I'm looking at them and I'm inspecting them. I'm not zooming crazy in on them, but I can see from here, even with my bad vision, that they don't have a bunch of pitting on them. And they've got a nice surface for them to make a good seal. Not a bunch of pitting. A little less carbon on this. Now, why was this engine depositing so much carbon on those intake valves? Yeah, same sort of thing. Not a bunch of pitting or anything. I might even consider lapping these, but I don't think they're going to need it. This engine had the OEM petcock on it, and it failed. And at one point, when I got a hold of this engine, it had about 3 quarts of material in it, maybe even a little bit more, and some of that was gas. And so they were trying really hard to run this engine, but what was happening with the vapor or the oil recovery system on it is end up douching a bunch of the oily fuel into the intake. And after a certain point, when it's warmed up or you're trying to run it at RPMs, it was starting to overflow and get in too much in the intake, and it was running like crap. So that's the explanation for this. And what are we doing in this video? Okay, we're going to move on. I'm going to remove these valve guide seals. Another thing that I was suspect of are these valve guide seals, because this engine was burning some oil. And sometimes these are a little bit more stubborn than others. Go ahead and take it off of here. And of course, when you mash them, they get ovaled and whatnot. We've got new ones to replace them with. But when an engine is burning a little bit of oil, just a ever so little bit of oil, and you don't end up seeing the evidence when you take a top end down, where is that oil coming from? If these rings, the cylinder wasn't glazed, all these different things. What was going on? Why was it burning that oil? Sometimes, especially when it's a little poof right when you start the engine, it can be the valve guide seals. My remote just about went on the move. And that is plausible. But we're going to eliminate that. When I inspected the piston and its rings, oops, slipped it off of there. It didn't look like that was a problem. You know, like our ring end gap, which is what I was expecting. Why am I removing these now? Well, I'm removing those now because those do provide a little bit of a drag on the valve. Because we're going to orient this the way this this piece is here, and we're looking at the intake here. It's kind of hard to see from this 3D printed thing. This, again, this is my friend Trenton. He's in the Jake the Garden Steak Patreon group with me, and he's came out here and rode actually the bike that this engine was in one of the last rides. Well, I mean, I guess within reason that it had. Anyway, I noticed a little faint smell of oil when I was riding behind it. All right. Anyway, he was really kind and he 3D printed this. What are we going to do? We have an intake valve here, an intake valve here, and it's the corresponding ones. What I'm going to do, and, you know, some people might be, oh, I don't know, you're not doing that right. And that's fine. But Pound Sand, this is my channel. So what I'm going to do is, first thing, I put a little bit of oil on these seats after I washed them. After I washed this head, because I didn't want those steel seats to get corroded in any way, shape, or form, or begin to try to rust. And I might have been a little bit excessive with it. Now, why is that important? Now, and you'll see that this combustion chamber isn't perfectly clean. It's going to be perfectly clean here in just a minute when we're done with this test. What I've got here is this Dykem blue. All right, and you might not know what that is. So we're going to take this valve right here. Let me make sure you can see it. This valve right here. And I'm going to put it, since it's this facing me, the right side, it'll go right here, okay? There's the valve guide. Oh, you can't see it. There's the valve guide, and then it goes in like so, okay? Right. But that doesn't really do us any good. So first thing I'm going to do, and again, criticize me if you will. That's fine. I'm going to use some contact cleaner on this when I remove this, and I'll do the final clean on it. And I might just show this one, but I'm going to put this, and it might take a second to get on here. I'm going to put it, come on. You can do it. Look, a little chunk of something. I'm going to get that off of there. Don't want any false readings. Hey, valve, you're on the move. What are you doing? So, what am I doing here? I'm trying to get... Oh, I think I remember. This kind of took a minute. I think I remember I ended up taking this cap cover. Oh, no, here we go. We're getting some juice. Yeah, I'm losing patience. I think I do remember. And I ended up getting this blue stuff on me. We're gonna send it. We're gonna send it. Got these needle nose for a reason. Okay. Yeah, I remember what I did now. I'm gonna get this crap all over my hands. It's great. This is a strong dye, but contact cleaner goes right through it. The regular, whew, that is kind of strong. And if I remember, oh, this is from last time. Look at there. That's what I did. See how this is really heavily dyed? I'm going to take this mostly clean Q-tip. I'm going to put on the surface where the valve is supposed to meet it. I'm going to get a little sloppy with it because I want to make sure there's plenty of dye on there. And we're going to make sure, here in a second, I'm just going to set this here. Put this halfway cap that's not really working on there. Bear with me, people. It's been a couple months since I did this. Put Mr. Valve into its place. And we're testing to make sure that this is mating well. Because if it could use some improvement, See how that's not getting good? There's not good color on there. We're going to try that again. Yeah, I just didn't get good stuff on the contact surface. But I think that's a pretty good indicator. You see all this around here is colored really well. And it's kind of dropping off. And I think it's just because I didn't have material, because there is some on there. I'm content with that. We'll do better on the next one. So this valve here, it's going to correspond to this one. So we're going to do the same crap. And we'll do a better job this time. At this time, I'm not really thinking I'm going to have to lap these valves. Again, I can kind of tell that by looking at it. And some of you real mechanics might call this blasphemy, or, dude, you're supposed to put it on the valve. Kiss my toe. How about that? This is how I'm going to do it. When it gets closer to time, and you guys that actually watch all these videos, I got a surprise announcement that I'm going to do. I think it will be a surprise to some of you. Some of you already know. Okay. Well, I might have got a little too thorough there, but we're getting excellent contact there. Don't worry, we're going to clean all that stuff off. Okay. So on this one here will be our valve that we're doing here, because we're looking at it from the top down. This is in the, let's see, I don't know if you guys are even seeing this. I hope you are. My screen doesn't stay on my camera here, and I got this on this chesty mount, and this is, again, this is the old DJI Osmo. I've been very pleased with it so far. Action 4. I've heard that the 5 is out. That's fine. This 4 is such a major upgrade for me. And, you know, some purist might say, all right, now that you just touched this down, that's all you need to do? All right. Well, let's see what that does if I just touch it down instead of spin it. All right. If it's not making good contact where I touch my fingers on there. Let's see our results. Yeah, we got purple all the way around this thing. It's not as thick, but it's purple. I can see it even in my poor lighting here. I'm very pleased with that. Again, what we would do if I did end up lapping these, or if for an advanced deal, if these were valves that I was doing, say a valve replacement or doing a seat grind and then a valve replacement, or some combination of those things, post lap of these, this is a good thing to do to check how good of a job you did or didn't do. What I think, one thing I will say is on this, with this material, the non-chlorinated, I think it's what it was, because I've used it before, the non-chlorinated does not take this crap off. Okay. Very good contact all the way around. And I put a little bit more material on there. You can see it's not making perfect contact there, but that might have been where I gripped it. We're making good contact all the way around, and I'm very pleased. So, what have we learned? We're making good contact. You can see where I can kind of, you might be able to see, that's all you get to see, because I don't want anybody critiquing my porting ability on this. And I got a little bit of razzle dazzle in the exhaust here, but I didn't get crazy. I'm not trying to get crazy. I'm just trying to remove casting marks in the head. So real quick, while I dump my stuff back into the Dykem blue jug, because there's still some good stuff in there, and put it back for next time. I'm going to go and do the final clean with some contact cleaner, as I said just before, and get this dye off of it and the valves. And I'm going to really be gentle, okay? And I'm going to clean up these valves. You know, I'm going to get this corrosion off of here. What I'm not going to do is get really abrasive with it. I'm going to get a little bit abrasive, you know, like my green 3M, and it's going to be not a brand new pad. It's going to be a mostly worn pad, because I don't want to get abrasive and take any of the coating off of this metal or cause any irregularities of it. What I do want to do is get all this material off of it, because it is weighing it down a little bit, and it's going to grab any other material that could potentially get in there. We want them clean, we want them efficient. So that's what we're doing. That's it for this video. What I'm going to do on the next video, or I might even make it the second part of this video, is install the new valve guide seals. What I might do is just install a valve guide seal and one valve, just to show you my process for it. Usually by the time I do the second or third one, or even the fourth one, I get a little bit more of a flow to it. But there can be a little bit of a struggle. But I think what I'm going to do is just call it good here, and then I'll just do that in its own video, because it could go kind of long, especially with this camera right here in front of my face here. So, you know, here we are. We're moving right along. The last things that we got to do is to put these valves in the place after we put the valve guide seals in, and then we'll be putting the rings right over here, and they're in this package on the piston, and we'll be installing the base gasket and the piston, not necessarily in that order, after I clean up the base. And we'll be wrapping up this build for the most part, and I'm pretty excited about it. Again, make sure and subscribe to this channel, share it. I'm trying to grow this a little bit. I'm not trying to get too crazy. And like and communicate, interact, and all that stuff. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.